Hello everyone, I am Kavita from MBA Business Analytics, Haryana School of Business, Guru Jambeshwar University of Science and Technology, Hisar. Today my subject is managerial economics and my topic is law of returns to scale. Uh, so Overview of law of returns to scale. The law of returns to scale describes how output changes in response to a proportional change in all inputs in production. It can manifest as increasing returns to scale, where output increase more than input. Constant returns to scale, where output increases proportionally, or decreasing returns to scale, where output increases less than input. This concept helps firms understand the efficiency of scaling operations and informs decisions regarding resource allocation and production strategies. So, our next slide is about what introduction, definition of law of returns to scale and importance of law of returns to scale. Definition of law of returns to scale. The law of returns to scale describes about how output changes as all inputs are increased proportionally in the long run. That it describes how the output changes when as all inputs are increased. When we increase all the inputs, then how what are the changes we can see in our output increased proportionally in a long run period. Importance of law of returns to scale is help firms understand production efficiency and optimal scale. So our next slide is product line. What is a product line? A product line illustrates the movement from one isoquant to another as both input factors are varied or as a single factor is changed. It shows the technically feasible paths for expanding output without considering the prices of production factors. The product line does not indicate actual choices of expansion, which depend on factor prices and represented by the expansion path. So our next slide, this diagram shows the product line. So our next slide is homogeneous function. That same kind of functions as we know. Homogeneous function is a function is homogeneous of degree v if scaling all inputs by factor k as shown in diagram results the output being scaled by k and p. So this is the mathematical representation of homogeneous function. So our next slide is non-homogeneous production function. Production function is non-homogeneous. The isolines will not the straight line will not be the straight lines, but their shape will be twiddly. The K and L ratio changes along each isoline as well as on different isolines also. So our next slide is types of returns to scale. So there are three types of returns to scale: constant returns to scale, increasing returns to scale, and decreasing returns to scale. So in coming next slides we brief study about that. these types of returns to scale. So this is the constant returns to scale. Constant returns to scale occur when increasing all the inputs in a production process by certain percentage returns in an equal percentage increase in output. For example, if a firm doubles its inputs like labor and capital, if firm increase its labor and capital and the output also doubles, likewise if we increase in labor and our capital, then our production is also double and the output also double. The production function exhibits constant returns to scale. In that function, our function is constant. The Our returns to scale is constant. This concept is very important in production theory and help analyze the efficiency and scalability of production process. So our next slide is increasing returns to scale. Increasing returns to scale refers to a situation in production where an increase in inputs used results in proportionally larger increase in output produced. In other words, if you double the inputs like labor and capital, the output more than doubles. It doubles the output. For example, if a factory uses 100 units of labor and 100 units of capital to produce 200 units of a product, and then increase both the inputs like the labor and the capital by 200 units each and produces 500 units, this demonstrates increasing returns to scale. So our next slide is decreasing returns to scale. Decreasing returns to scale occurs when an increase in inputs used in production results in a less than proportional increase in output. In other words, you can say if we double the inputs and the output by less than double, increases less than double. If we increase our labor and capital, then the output increase by less than double. For example, if a factory uses 100 units of labor and 100 units of capital to produce for a product produce and 200 units of a product, and then increases both inputs by 200 units each, but only produce 350 units. This demonstrates decreasing returns to scale. Like we are we are using 100 units of labor and 100 units of capital to produce 200 units and then increase 200 units each, like 200 units of labor and 200 units of capital, and only produce 350 units. This demonstrates decreasing returns to scale. So next, the graphical representation of returns to scale, law of returns to scale. There's the three types of returns to scale that are represented in a graphical method So constant returns to scale, increasing returns to scale, and decreasing returns to scale. By this, in this graphical representation, we can see the output increase here, the output increase by the same percentage of input. We can see in this diagram, this graph. Example, doubling inputs leads doubling output. In constant returns to scale, if we double the inputs, then our output is also double. Then increasing returns to scale, the graphic, we can see the graphical representation of increasing returns to scale, that output increases by larger percentage than input. For example, doubling inputs results more than double in the output. We can see the doubling, if we double our inputs, then our output is more than double. Then in next slide, decreasing in returns to scale, uh, decreasing in graphical representation, we can see the decreasing of decrease of returns to scale are in output increases by a smaller percentage than inputs. Okay, then doubling, like example, if we take doubling inputs results in less than double the output, then our output will decrease, not increase in that case, in decreasing returns to scale. So our next slide is, these are the factors which influencing returns to scale. Factors influencing returns to scale are specialization, division and labor, specialization in anything and division of labor. Managerial efficiency is also influencing returns to scale. Technological improvements also influencing returns to scale in a constant way, or increasing the returns in any kind. They influence returns to scale. Economies and diseconomies also influencing returns to scale. Then our next slide, implication for firms of law of returns to scales, how we can implement these law of returns to scale in the firms. It helps in decision making, like help firm to decide an optimal level of production level. Law of returns to scale also helps to decide an optimal production level for the firm. Industry structure, like we can also explain why some industries have larger firms. Then it is also implicate in cost management, like understanding cost behavior as production sales. So these are the implication for firms of returns to scale, why it is importance in and firm. So our next slide is conclusion. Summary is like the returns of law of returns to scale is crucial for understanding production efficiency and making informed business decisions. That it law of returns to scale is very important and crucial for understanding the production efficiency and making informed business decisions. For making business decisions, it is very important. A final thought is that firm must analyze their production process to determine their returns to scale. That firm analyze their production process, how the process goes on, to determine their returns to scale. So that, thank you.